Little Women was written and directed by Greta Gerwig, based off of the famous novel. And this film tells the story of four sisters who are coming of age during the aftermath of the Civil War. They're surrounded by a lot of poverty, they're having a hard time securing work, and they're dealing with a lot of injustice. Despite all of those things, one of the reasons this film really works for me is because of how lighthearted and fun it is. The movie has a lot of very sad elements and things that are meant to make you feel and understand what these characters are going through. In particular, Saoirse Ronan's character, Jo, who's a writer, trying to write stories that are meaningful, but nobody wants to publish her work unless she makes it unnecessarily sensational. And each of them are in the middle of some kind of turbulent romance, and some of them are dealing with status issues, because for women at that time, it was all about marrying a very rich man who could then support you, and you could marry into that name. But Jo is adamantly against that form of control and just wants to live her own life and write her stories. The last film Greta Gerwig directed was Lady Bird, a movie that I thought was excellent. I still love that movie. That was an original film, and this is obviously an adaptation of a famous book. I don't think it's quite as good as Lady Bird, and that could just be because I have a personal taste for original films over adaptations. But that statement doesn't detract from the quality of this movie by any means, because I was consistently entertained throughout this entire film. Everyone in the film is great, especially Saoirse Ronan. She gives another really good performance in a Gerwig film. And Timothée Chalamet, as a young man who becomes the object of affection for some of these women, is also really wonderful in the movie. The film is also really subtle in how it manipulates your emotions. At times, it's a heartwarming Christmas movie. It's coming out on Christmas, there are scenes at Christmas, you're going to feel warm and cozy during some parts of the film. And then there are other times where characters break out in these horrible arguments, and it just feels so cold and bitter. And Gerwig does a very good job of taking these clashing tones and making them feel consistent. Also, as a period piece, the costuming and production design and the sets and the buildings, it's all really incredible what they were able to accomplish. It always feels very period accurate, and it felt like I was looking at a time capsule. Emma Watson and Florence Pugh also give really good performances, as does Eliza Scanlen. But I think the real star of this movie is cinematographer, the countryside, the houses, the dance sequences. This is a gorgeous movie. Everything looks very lush. The film is telling all of these characters' stories that sometimes intersect and sometimes separate, and sometimes take place over the course of many years. And the film tells it in such a way where we flash back and we flash forward. Sometimes it's easy to tell because the color correction in the past is more glowing and feels warmer. And in the present, it feels a lot colder. It's more gray. And sometimes characters have different hairstyles, and so you can really tell. But then there's a part towards the latter half of the movie where I actually got lost a few times. I watched the film with my wife, and we had to sort of pause it and just recollect where exactly we were in the timeline because it wasn't 100% clear. Sometimes it happens as rapidly as one shot in the past, one shot in the present. And you're going back and forth very quickly like that, and you have to piece that together in a rapid-fire way, and I would say that's the film's biggest weakness. And there were some storylines that I did not care as much about as the others, which is common in a movie when you have a lot of characters. You take a few and you really focus on those as a writer, and more than likely some of the ones in the background don't get as much attention. But since a lot of runtime is dedicated to some of those characters, I found myself a little bored when their storylines were on screen. And whenever it came back to Jo's character and she was trying to write or trying to figure out what her emotions were telling her and how to just be a woman in this time, I found all of those sequences really entertaining. I'm going to give Little Women a B+. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmannized.